This is the Chris Project, where we discuss mental wellness, self-awareness, and mindset with entrepreneurs and experts. Set your perceived ideas and biases aside, and let's go on our journey for yourself, for your family, for the world.
Welcome to another episode of The Chris Project. I am your host, Christian Brim. Joining me today is Peter Krastev. Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Close enough.
You're good.
Right. Peter, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Christian. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, why don't you start with telling us who you are and what you do?
I'm Peter, and my name is from Bulgaria. I'm from Bulgaria. I'm a fitness coach, and I have an online fitness coaching practice. My journey started in the UK about 11 years ago. I moved to the UK when I was 24, and I had a big journey of personal growth and many obstacles, which led me to opening my coaching business. And now this is my dedication and my life. On a daily basis, I work with people, mostly men, who just need to now transform their body and their habits. I usually have adult audience of like over 40s, serious people who've achieved a lot in life, but for some reason failed to achieve on the fitness side, which is very common. My job is helping people transition into that healthier lifestyle and achieve some goals that they aspire to, to have. That's me in a nutshell.
So what brought you to the UK?
I had a very tough life when I was in Bulgaria. We couldn't pay the bills, and I was a stepfather for a kid. I had a relationship that was extremely toxic. My girlfriend needed a lot of medical care for some health conditions, and I desperately needed money. I could barely pay the bills. I had no chance of paying for any of the other things that we needed money for. And going to the UK was an escape route for me. Opportunity opened up to go to a car wash. And I took it. I took all the money I could find. It was 500 euros that my mom gave me somehow. And I bought the ticket. I left the remaining of the money to my girlfriend so they can pay the bills whilst I figured things out for a little bit. I took 10 euros in my pocket and left for the UK. And that was 14th of September 2014. And that's when my life journey really started. So I went to search for an exit for money, either to get out of this relationship, but get out in the right way, to have the money to support the kid, support her. And I wanted to be just a man. I just wanted to be not the guy that gives up on people, but the guy who does what he said he's going to do. I know the UK was simply the only option I had, the only option. And I took it. And yeah.
Was that successful?
I'm here today, so I'll say yes. But filled with multiple major failures. What I aspired to do, the reason I went there for, to make the money and to provide and fix her health issues, I managed all that on that end. At the end, she broke up with me because of another guy. So that was a bit of traumatic experience. And it taught me a lot, because to achieve what I had to achieve, it was no joke. I actually had to live in a garage without electricity, without water for 18 months. I had some days on the streets. All the time I was very alone. I mean, anyone who met loneliness, the pure form of it, knows what it is to live with it every single day. I had to cry a lot and struggle a lot. And I survived somehow, which gave me a lot of strength. At the end of it, I uncovered something in me that I didn't know it's there. I didn't know I'm able to go through so much pain and discomfort.
Yes.
Prior to this experience in my life, I was quitting 100th of the length on on step one of 100, I was quitting because I thought that's too much pain.
Yes.
It's my life before that was absolute joke compared to what I had to go through, and then going through such a huge struggle on my own, achieving on my own, achieving everything I said I'm going to accomplish against everybody else belief in times when nobody supported me, nobody believed in me. That gave me superpowers in a way. Then the logical outcome was I'm going to use all this to build my own life now, and nothing can stop me ever again.
I love that story. I would say, however, that those experiences didn't create the superpowers. They revealed the superpowers that were already there.
Maybe, yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book. I haven't quite finished it, but I've already bought multiple copies to share. It's called "What Happy People Know" by Ken Baker, and he's a doctor of psychology, entrepreneur. He founded Canyon Ranch, which you're probably not familiar with it, but it is like one of the preeminent health and mental health spas in the world in Arizona. And he defines optimism as being, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, being at the worst or going through a bad situation and learning the lesson that's to be learned. That's the definition of optimism, not being defeated by those things, but learning from those things, right? And that sounds like what you learned more about yourself in that situation rather than being defeated by it.
That's it. Yeah. And now moving forward, you expect that failures will just keep coming and struggles will continue coming, but you will grow through them. If
Yes.
that didn't kill me, then
Yes.
what is going to kill me? Like pretty much nothing. But I wanted to end my own life, which is the irony in it. So many times.
Yes.
I
It was
remember
painful.
saying, yeah, I was in that garage there and crying in the bed, and I had a surgery just done on me, a hernia surgery, and I had to travel with a bicycle on the next day after the surgery from the next city.
Yeesh.
And I lied in the garage without electricity, without water, and that thing was even getting infected at some point. And I had rats behind my bed, and I was like, very tough mentally at that stage. And
Yeah.
I didn't take that route of just quitting because I still had my parents who live back home. Although disappointed, they still were my parents, and I couldn't imagine I had a very brutal thought, so it might be triggering, but I was imagining my mom on my grave, and I was like, no, I can't do that to her. I was willing to go through all the pain for that.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking like, that's so stupid. I feel like I could now take 10 times more than what I did. I don't want to, definitely don't want to go there. But man, we have hell of a lot in us.
Yeah, and in his book he references, I don't remember the individual's name, but was one of the people that survived the concentration camps, and how even in that, like I can't imagine your situation, and I can't imagine being in a concentration camp. But being able to see the good, the beauty, the love, the lesson to be learned, rather than being overcome by that darkness, is what it is to be human, right? I mean, like Because pain happens, fear happens. There's no way escaping it, but it's how you react to it that defines you.
I think you're right in a very deep, profound way.
So what was the point? What was the turning point where things like you started to learn the lesson? Where was that?
Well, the moment I exited the relationship, that's probably the time when I started believing in everything, that everything is possible when I have that lesson learned, because that was very quickly after the moment I achieved. I paid for a lot of things that I had to pay, and that took me years to save this money. I kind of was already successful, and my expectation was that, so my girlfriend's gonna be happy now and we're gonna be together, and she might even move to me or me to her and stuff like that. But at that moment she decided to show me that she's already with another guy. Ended up, I got angry for like 5 minutes, and then I realized I have superpowers. And there was a few other moments later in life which certainly have helped me and shape who I am today, and keep helping me moving forward. One of them was I started a business, just the next endeavor that I had in my life to make money, a business with my best friend, and that fell apart. And I personally learned for myself that I can't give my future in somebody else's hands. Most people were quitting, and I wasn't willing to take that risk of somebody quitting on himself whilst being with me and me depending on him. So I decided to bet only on myself, and that's why my coaching practice is run by me. Everything that I do is run by me. I can't have 50-50 partners. I can only partner with people if I'm not dependent on them. And that's one big
Do you see any parallels between your partner in the failed business and your girlfriend? Is there any connection in your mind between those two relationships?
I don't think so. He still became my best friend after that. I mean, we had problems, and I don't know if I can connect them. Maybe the one thing that is I can see it persists in every relationship, not just between them, but with my parents and anyone else I meet. There is a little edge, a specific edge that you need to obtain if you want to be successful in what you want to do. And most people associate that with craziness, with insanity. They don't get it. And I think I learned to be okay with that. And I don't expect them to get it. I never go again to explain my business to somebody who loves me and is dear to me, because I love them and I want them to support me and I want them to understand. I'm fine with people not supporting them. I'm fine
Yes.
with taking the lead and saying, just don't stay in my way. This is what I
Yes.
do. People don't get it.
And you define that characteristic as, well, other people see it as crazy. Yes?
For sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. But it sounds like what they call crazy is really you taking radical ownership of your results.
Yeah. And in reality, I'm chasing goals that are way beyond me, and people can't understand that. Most people. If I'm
Right.
speaking with you, you probably see through me and you're like, yeah, 100%, I get it. I don't know why
Right.
other people don't see it. But we're entrepreneurs.
Right.
We, by nature, are like that. I'm not
Yes.
trying to compare myself with you by numbers we've made or anything like that, but by our nature is like that. We get that. You want to achieve something great, bigger than you,
Yes.
and you're gonna have to change. You're gonna have to grow, and people can't see that through happening with you. Even though they've seen me change in the past 10 years, now they have certain belief that what I start doing, I kind of make, and I will achieve. With the years and the experience, they tend to believe a little bit more, but it's never 100%. there's always huge amount of doubt in people's minds. Like, you're not that guy. How are you going to do that? And in my mind is, I'm not that guy, and this is the journey. I have to become that guy.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I think that's probably one of the most profound insights I had in my journey was that the business was limited by me, and that if I wanted the business to grow, I had to grow, and that was very profound for me.
yeah,
It's simple, but just understanding that.
it's a very good lesson.
Because I think I got to the point where the business wasn't growing, and I went back to those default behaviors of basically blaming other things, like blaming my partners or blaming my employees or blaming my customers, whatever. But not looking in the mirror and pointing the finger at myself.
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that when you continued speaking. I
I'm
had
sorry.
that
Well, you say
experience,
it differently. You can say it in Bulgarian. No, please don't. I won't understand you.
but I was gonna say that exactly this is the moments which I already had a couple of times when I'm stuck in the business and I'm like looking for answers, for better strategies, better solutions, and nothing helps. And then you realize it's you. You have to level up,
Yes.
put in the work, personal growth, become better.
Yes,
What's
and
missing?
I think that's not necessarily like I have to learn more skills or learn how to do something that I don't know how to do, although sometimes that is the case. But for me, the biggest transformation was being able to rely on others. Like at some point in any business, no matter the personal growth, there's only so much that one person can do, right? And so you have to be able to engage others in the vision and let them do what they do best. And that also was a challenge for me. Frankly, I think it was a lot of hubris. I think I thought I could do anything or learn anything or master any skill, and so like if it was a problem to be solved, my initial default was, well, I'll figure it out. But it has become very transformative to find someone else that's better equipped to figure it out for
And
me.
and you're not speaking just about hiring staff members to do some job, but you also, I feel like you're mostly referring to actual partners, team members.
I think it doesn't really matter. I mean, it depends on the situation. In the example that I'm referencing is employees, but I think it could be a partnership. It could be a coaching relationship. You know, like I've been with my business coach for 3 years now. There's I could not have done what he did for me, right? Like, so I don't think it's as important what that relationship is as it is the intent behind trusting someone else to do something for you.
Yeah, that was very transformative for me too. And hiring coaches, paying for that mentorship and support, it was a massive fast track for me more than once. And then there's always like two sides of the coins. Unfortunately, I met the point sometimes where I solely rely on that person to solve my challenges and my problems and just take me magically to the next level. And then they come and they can't. And that realization was like a cold bucket thrown at me with water, right?
Yes.
Because I was having all my hopes put into this coaching and them coming and they being great. But there was that little element of, first of all, learning the strategies, systems, and methods and mindset that they have, applying them, but then making them blend in with my personality, my dreams, my vision, and make them my own, so they actually can start working. Because when they're not you, they only work to a certain extent. At least in my experience, when it came down to marketing and sales and branding, when you start applying somebody else's vision on your brand, on your business, and it becomes one, like in my case, it became one little ugly thing. It made more money, but I didn't see that as my thing.
Yes.
I almost felt like a foreigner in my own business. So now going back to the drawing board, how can I express myself through this and find my own systems using the logic that they taught me? How can I invent some new way of doing things?
Yeah, I think that I think it's important to understand that even though you bring someone in to help you solve a problem, that is not an abdication of the responsibility for it. So it's still my responsibility to make sure that thing gets done. Because otherwise you fall into that rescue trap that Dr. Baker references in his book. He talks about the traps of like victimization, seeing yourself as a victim, which we've already kind of talked about. But then the flip side of that is that you're looking for someone to rescue you, and it doesn't work that way. You can't just throw all your problems on somebody else and say fix it. You can bring someone along that's better suited to help you fix it, but it's still your responsibility to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. I learned that the hard way. I really thought, and I think yes, it's my fault due ignorance and just not knowing how it is. But also, people nowadays sell and market their coaching as the solution. They always talk like you come to us and we'll fix you.
Right.
They give you these promises and you buy into it eventually. And then you go and it doesn't work this way.
No,
You're
no,
like, what's going on? What's the support?
because a great coach, there are a lot of, and you can use this for accountants or lawyers or any other professional
Yeah.
service. It the whole thing is built on selling you something, right? And the reality is that ultimately it's up to you to fix it. I think the great coaches reveal what's already inside of you. They don't fix you. They just pull out what's already there.
And another thing about the great coaches is that they care for you. I think that's a major one. Because as you said, a lot of these people, they build their whole coaching business is built with the sales in mind as the sole goal. Like,
Yeah.
and when you approach building a business like this, all you look at is retention rates, drop-off rates, refund rates, and you kind of allow a little margin, and they end up not even caring what people are saying as long as the numbers show the different
Right.
stuff. And half the members inside are like unhappy, unsatisfied, never get the personal support, personal care. Nobody's there for them. Nobody cares. But they don't quit. So the numbers are right. And you end up with that bitter taste in your mouth. Because that coaching business is not built to help you. It's built to make them money.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with making money, and your business should have the intent of making money, but it's like in our business we do financial services for creative entrepreneurs, so accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, wealth management, those kind of things. But our most successful clients are the ones that have a transformation in how they understand their business finances. I can't give that to them because that's up to them, right? And I can give them all the tools and the opportunities, but if they don't take advantage of them, it doesn't. Again, it goes back to that. Well, yeah, you can pay us to solve your problem, and we will solve your problem. But until you engage and say, I'm going to have a better understanding of my finances, and I'm going to run my business like a business, I can't give that to you. You have to earn it. You have to pull it out of yourself. If you don't want it, I can't give it to you.
No, I 100% agree.
And I think that's true for any service. You know, I ran through that with marketing. Marketing is the worst. You talk about coaches. Marketing is the worst because they sell crack. You know, they're selling this drug of you know, I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to grow, and it's easy to sell that because
Very
people
easy.
want it, right?
Very, very easy.
Right. And
And I know by comparison, by numbers, like just to throw that in, so people maybe get the listener can get the perspective. My best friend is doing huge volume of cold outreach marketing, and they're selling cold products to cold leads,
yes,
cold ideas to cold leads.
yes,
And if you start selling how to make money selling with cold email, they can get huge response.
yes.
They can get up to like 30, 40, 50% of response rate on a cold email. And if you're trying to sell anything else, you'll be lucky if you hit 1%.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And you can build a business that way. That's totally fine. But to your point, I think at the end of the day, it's hollow. Like if it's only about making money,
Yeah.
then go and God be with you. That's fine, but that doesn't resonate with me, and I don't think it's sustainable.
And it's not fulfilling, for sure. Maybe for some people, and maybe temporarily. I don't think you're doing it for the money. Half the people hating on you that you sell to is actually going to give you any joy. Like, yeah.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, you know, what does more money give you? I mean, in the grand scope of things, like, you know, I'm at an age, I'm almost 55, where I have a perspective based upon experience of like, yeah, you make more money. What difference does it make in your life? And you know, the really important things to me in life, money doesn't change it one way or the other, either the presence or the absence of it. And so, you know, making more money is fine. I have no problem with that. That is the intent of the business, but it can't be the sole purpose of it can't be the purpose of the business, you know, because that at the end of the day doesn't move the needle for me. It did when I thought differently, but it doesn't anymore.
Yeah. For me, business is serving, right? You either sell some product or something that serves people in some way, or you personally serve people. And if you take the serving out of the equation, it's a scam. That's
But that doesn't mean the scam isn't successful. I mean, because
they can be bloody successful, especially those selling money. Like you sell money, how to make money.
Well, and I think, you know, you said you work mostly with men. I think, you know, men that get into their 40s start to realize that. Like, there's this, your 20s and 30s, you're building your business. You if you have family, you're raising kids, and you focus all your energy on that, and then you get to some point where you're like, wait a second, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. And men have a tendency to identify with what they do.
Yeah.
When people ask you, who you are, you say, well, you say what you do. So, well, I'm a coach, I'm a CPA, whatever. That's how we identify, and our self-worth is caught up in what we can provide, which is important. I believe, as men, are hardwired to provide and to protect. That's what I think that we're hardwired for. And so it scratches that itch that we have built into us, but it's not sufficient at the end of the day.
It scratches it barely.
Yeah.
It's like you can go into this in a huge event and meet hundreds of very successful people and tell them, oh, how great you are and how great your business is. Even do a keynote and they all applaud you. And at the end of the day, you feel just as cold as you when you walked into there. But if one of them comes to you and says, your story, your human story is amazing. You're a good person and you helped me with what you did. You changed, you inspire me, or you just say something that is on that personal level, which indicates that you're a good human being and that you are here for a purpose. That's gonna make your day, not for a day, but for for a long time. It's gonna stay with you, and they
Absolutely.
accumulate, and
Yeah.
that's the difference. And once you experience that, you can't go back.
Yeah, and it'll fuel you through those challenging times that will come.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have gone through that recently, where I've questioned decisions and directions that we've moved in the company, trying new things, and wondering if it was the right decision, et cetera. But when I hear stories from clients about how we've fundamentally transformed their lives, which is not accurate. Like, I like to point out, like, we didn't do that. You did that. We gave you the space to do it and maybe some tools to do it, but you're the one that made the transformation, not us. But those stories fuel you to keep going.
Yeah, it's very similar with me. It's very special. I'm very blessed to be receiving a lot of these messages. Sometimes could be just the same person, like over and over again, just sending me how grateful they are and how much they're looking forward to meeting me again and spending some time together, maybe even. And it gives me that achievement in the purpose realm. Like I'm
Yes.
here for a purpose and I've done something already and I'm on the right track. Regardless how bad my life gets, I feel like I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you learned that lesson about yourself in the UK, and now you're an optimist, not one of those Pollyanna optimists where, hey, everything is going to be fine. You know there are going to be difficult times, but you know that you can get through them.
Yeah. And I also am optimistic because I know how important that is. You have to believe in yourself, and sometimes you struggle too. I have still do that. This has been doing this for years. This is like a little journal notebook which I write my statements in the morning. I'm so happy and grateful now that fill in the blank,
Yes.
things that haven't happened yet, because I need to maintain my belief. And I know that my self-belief is the
Yes.
most powerful, one of the most powerful tools that I have. I sometimes give the example of to my clients about a story that I had in my life when I was growing up. Nobody, literally nobody, believed I can achieve anything great. Maybe they indicated somehow that it's possible, but whenever it was coming down to an actual conversation with my parents or anyone of the people who brought me up, and they never wanted to tell me like you can be anything, go work, grow, and just what's your dream. They were more of a people like don't dream. You gotta work hard, have good grades. Life is very hard. You need to be good at school. You need to listen to what people say. I grew up in this life, and there was one moment. I was probably 4 or 5 years old. I don't remember who said what, like what was the occasion. I know there was people, and one person from my family or somebody they knew came to me, and when there was discussion between them what I can achieve. Somebody dropped down like I can be a president if I want, and that person wholeheartedly agreed. He was like, yeah, 100%. And I felt that.
Yeah.
One person. That thing
Yeah.
remained with me for decades. I was growing up and I was looking for that again. I knew somebody there believed I can do it. And that helped me search for it. Search for more people and more of that. And now I know I can give that to myself every morning with I'm my biggest supporter, and I should keep giving this to myself. You can do this.
Yeah, absolutely. Dr. Baker talks about in his book that the antidote to fear is love. And he says, I don't know that I necessarily agree with this, but I'll stipulate it. He said that the highest form of love is appreciation. And you talking about journaling in there about appreciating things that haven't yet happened is an interesting application of that, because you're showing love, appreciation for something that hasn't yet happened. But that keeps you from feeling fear, like that. You can't in our brains in the same moment. You can't hold fear and appreciation in the same moment. That's the way the brain is wired. So fear comes from the amygdala, which is your reptile brain. And when you feel appreciation or love, you're in your neocortex, and the neocortex overrides. And so the moment you start feeling appreciation, the fear can't come out. Now you can go back and forth between fear but that's the solution to that problem, is showing love.
Yeah, that's a very good one. I just learned it. I mean, I didn't know that they
You need to
both
read this
can't
book.
coexist.
It's a great book.
Oh, what is the title?
What Happy People Know.
I will remember that. Yeah,
Yes.
it's a good book.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, Peter, how do people find you if they want to learn more about what you do and work with you?
Well, I suggest you go to YouTube and see for Peter Fitness by spelling my name as it is, Petar. And you will see that I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast, my own podcast. I teach people a lot of stuff, so subscribe there. And there you will also find how to contact me if you want to. Yeah, man, I have my websites. I'm sure if you want to find me, you can find me, right?
Yes, you're going to have to want to, right?
You're going to have to want
He's
to,
not
right?
going to save you.
Seek
He's
and you
not going
shall
to rescue
find.
you. Yeah, that's right. Listeners, we'll have those links in the show notes. If you like what you heard, please rate the podcast, subscribe to the podcast, share the podcast. If there's something else you'd like to hear on the show, please shoot us a message, and we would love to help bring it to you. Until then, remember, you are not alone.
Thank you.